In a world addicted to noise, when was the last time you truly sat in silence? Think about it. From the moment we wake up, we are surrounded by sound. Alarms, notifications, conversations, music, podcasts, traffic. And when the world goes quiet, we reach for our phones, desperate to fill the silence. But what if silence isn't something to fear? What if it's something to embrace? What if solitude isn't loneliness, but the key to hearing your truest inner voice? In this video, we'll explore the silent language of solitude, why modern life fears it, what philosophy and neuroscience reveal about its power, and how you can learn to use solitude as a source of clarity, creativity, and peace. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most people are terrified of being alone with themselves. Researchers once conducted an experiment. They placed participants in a room with no distractions, no phone, no book, no music, for just 15 minutes. The only option in the room, besides sitting quietly, was a button that delivered a mild electric shock. Here's what happened. Many participants chose to shock themselves rather than sit in silence. Why? Because silence can feel unbearable. In the quiet, we come face to face with our thoughts. We encounter our anxieties, our regrets, our fears, and for many of us, that's scarier than pain itself. Modern life makes this worse. Social media, constant news cycles, and endless entertainment give us the illusion of connection and distraction. But in reality, they rob us of the ability to be with ourselves. The truth is, we are not just afraid of silence, we are addicted to noise. Let me share a story. David was a successful executive. His calendar was full, his phone always buzzing, his evenings packed with dinners and events. People admired him for his energy, his connections, his constant presence. But beneath the surface, David was restless. He hated being alone. The moment he got home, he turned on the TV, scrolled through social media, called friends. He could not sit in silence, not even for 5 minutes. One weekend, while traveling, his phone died. No charger, no TV, no internet. For the first time in years, he was forced into silence. At first, it was unbearable. Thoughts rushed in. Old regrets, doubts about his choices, fears about the future. He felt like he was drowning. But then something shifted. As the hours passed, he noticed details he had long ignored. The sound of wind, the rhythm of his own breathing, the weight of his body on the chair. And then, deeper still, he began to hear something he hadn't heard in years. His own inner voice. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It was gentle, but clear, and it reminded him of truths he had forgotten, what he valued, what he longed for, what truly mattered. David discovered what many before him had discovered. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers. So what exactly is this silent language? When we enter solitude, something remarkable happens. Beneath the chatter of the external world, we begin to hear the whispers of the internal one. This is what philosophers and mystics have called the inner voice, the soul, the self. The Buddha taught that enlightenment comes not through noise and distraction, but through stillness. Meditation is the practice of listening deeply, not to others, but to the silence within. In the West, Blaise Pascal once wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." Nietzsche, too, spoke of solitude as the ground for self-discovery. The greatest events, they are not our loudest but our stillest hours. But what does science say about solitude? When the brain is not bombarded by external stimulation, something fascinating happens. The default mode network activates. This is the network responsible for self-reflection, memory consolidation, and creative thinking. In silence, the brain organizes experiences, integrates emotions, and generates new insights. Studies have shown that spending time alone, whether walking, journaling, or simply sitting, reduces stress and enhances problem solving. In fact, many breakthroughs in art, science, and philosophy have come in solitude. Newton's theory of gravity was born in the silence of isolation. Beethoven composed some of his greatest works while wandering alone in nature. Writers and mystics throughout history have sought solitude as the birthplace of creativity. Solitude doesn't shrink the brain, it awakens it. What then are the gifts of solitude? 1. Clarity. In silence, the noise of others' opinions fades. You hear your own thoughts more clearly. Decisions become less about pleasing others and more about aligning with your truth. 1. Creativity. Ideas often come not in meetings, but in quiet moments, walking, showering, resting. Silence frees the imagination to wander and connect new dots. 1. Strength. Solitude teaches resilience. When you are comfortable being alone, you no longer fear abandonment. You stand firm, not because others approve, but because you are rooted in yourself. 1. Peace. Perhaps the greatest gift of all, peace. In silence, the restless mind softens, and you discover that you are enough, even without constant distraction. So how do we practice solitude in a noisy world? Here are 5 practical ways. 1. Daily silence practice. Set aside just 10 minutes each day. No phone, no music, just sit. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, the silence will become your sanctuary. 1. Solo walks. Take walks alone without headphones. Pay attention to the rhythm of your steps, the sound of birds, the feel of the breeze. Nature has its own silent language. 1. Mindful journaling. After sitting in silence, write down what comes up. Don't censor it. This allows your inner voice to take form on paper. 1. Digital detox. Try one evening a week without screens. Read a book. Light a candle. Let your mind rest. 1. Breathing in silence. Sit quietly and focus on your breath. Each inhale, each exhale. This is the simplest way to return to presence. These practices are not about escaping life. They are about entering life more fully, through the doorway of silence. Here's the deeper truth. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the joy of being with yourself. When you embrace solitude, you stop needing constant validation. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing emptiness. Instead, you discover fullness, the fullness of your own presence. In solitude, you realize that your worth does not depend on noise, applause, or recognition. It depends on nothing at all. As the mystic Rumi wrote, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." So I ask you, when was the last time you sat in silence? Not as punishment, not as emptiness, but as a gift. The world will always be noisy, but silence is always available. And in that silence lives your truest guide, your inner voice. Don't run from solitude. Run toward it. Because in solitude, you are not alone. You are finally with yourself. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to Pulse of Clarity. Here we explore philosophy, neuroscience, and mindfulness to help you find peace, freedom, and clarity in a noisy world. Join us, and let's learn together to speak the silent language of solitude.